Hi there, welcome to No Nonsense Whiskey. My name is VinPF, and on today's episode, we've got another whiskey from Heroes and Heretics, and this one is a 27-year-old Bunnahabhain. Now, before we get into the actual review itself, it's important to note that they have released two different 27-year-old Bunnahabhains, and I'm given to understand that they are a little bit different from each other. Not like massively, but they are, single cask offerings. They are going to differ. So for the purposes of this review, I have cask number 7714. If you are picking up a bottle of this, or if you see it online and want to get a bottle, just to know that this is the one I'm reviewing, not the other. There might be subtle differences between the two. In any case, let's get into this one and see what we've actually got in the label, because as I mentioned, it's a 27-year-old Bunnahabhain, which is incredible in itself. I'm assuming that most people who are watching an episode like this are familiar with Bunnahabhain and have tried a lot of their stuff. But as we get into the upper double figures, this sort of age, we're talking very, very expensive for a kind of OB bottling. So because this is 27-year-old, this is actually distilled in 1989, which is pretty awesome in itself. And I make no qualms in mentioning on here, non-chill filtered, single cask, no colorants, all things that we like. Now, it's a half-litre bottle and it's 41.9%. And a kind of big thing about this is that there were only 289 bottles of this one bottled. Now, unfortunately, that does mean that this is sold out from the actual website itself. I wanted to just let you guys know about this brand because I think that they're really good at what they're doing. They've got good value. It's not cheap. This is about 150 quid on their website, and there are still some available on Master of Malt for a little bit more than that. And we'll get into the actual value of that a little bit later. But as I said, it is expensive whiskey, but we are talking about a single cask 27-year-old Bunnahabhain here. So, it's going to price a lot of people out of it. There's going to be some people that aren't interested in that sort of thing, but there are definitely going to be people that are interested in that sort of thing. So hopefully my review will kind of lean you one way or the other and might at least get you interested in the brand if you can't get hold of these already. I've covered a lot of them up till now as well, and there are some new ones as well. So make sure you go and check them out because there's some quality stuff on that website. In any case, let's get onto the actual whiskey and see what we've got in the glass. Now, I think something like this that's been sat in a barrel for 27 years really does need to be aired out. There are a lot of whiskies that are like that, and there are some that aren't like that. This is definitely one of those. You're going to want to let this oxidise for, they say kind of a year in the cask, a minute in the glass, but, whatever works for you. It is a 41%er. I'm going to get into water a little bit here, which is something I don't usually do. But I don't think this takes water so well because of the low ABV, but it's something that you can experiment with if you end up trying this. Let's try on the nose then. Now, straight off the bat, this has got a kind of incredible fruitiness to it. It isn't overpowering, it's all very delicate. But considering this is an ex-bourbon barrel and not like a rum cask or anything like that, there really is kind of like a lot of tropical notes on this, like bananas and kind of pineapples and that sort of thing. The kind of typical ex-bourbon notes that you might be thinking about. There's some vanillas and stuff in there, some kind of light backings of honey, but nothing too major. Let's try on the palate then. Now again, one of the things that they say is a year in the cask, a second in the mouth over the palate, but I didn't think you want to watch me swill that for kind of 27 seconds. So obviously I've done my notes pre-recording, so we'll move straight into those. Now the best thing about this is that you get those initial kind of sweet, fruity notes on the palate, which is glorious from the nose. But then a kind of spiciness comes out the back end. It's more like a kind of nutmeggy spice in my opinion, but that's just me. So it kind of like, it's really delicate to start with, really delicate. And then out of nowhere you get a little spike of spice, which brings an extra dimension to it. The finish is kind of medium long, all spicy, all fruity. Really tasty, really tasty. This is one of those things, like I said earlier, the value of this really depends on whether you've got the money for that sort of thing or not. It's a half litre, it's a single cask. There's a lot of maths going on here in your head, whether you think you're going to find good value in this or not. Personally, I think when you look at other heavily aged Bunnahabhains, then you're in the right ballpark. This is not a kind of overpriced whiskey in any stretch. It's just an expensive whiskey. That's the difference between the two. So I think that if you are even remotely interested in this, it's probably worth pulling the trigger on it while you can on Master of Malt, while they've still got some bottles left. I don't think they have many left. I wouldn't go to secondary market because these guys are releasing new stuff all the time. And I have to say their prices on their website, including delivery, are already cheaper than other online outlets anyway. Yeah, so it's a real shame that you can't get hold of this specific bottling now. It's just a real shame because it's so good. But do go and check them out, and hopefully you'll be in a chance of getting some more of their stuff soon.